All right, moving on now. The National Commission on Human Rights in Kenya says 24 people have been killed by police gunfire during protests since Tuesday's disputed elections.
Now, 17 of those killings have been in Nairobi. And Oburu Odinga, brother of opposition leader Raila, says the government appears to be targeting particular communities. And according to the commission, the figures are partly based on accounts from family and community members. The commission, which monitors government institutions, has reached out to senior officials to urge police to stop using live ammunition against civilians.
Now, the government says most of Kenya is calm, although it accuses what it calls criminals of taking advantage of the tense election period to loot and destroy property in several areas. And President Kenyatta appealed for unity after the Kenyan Election Commission announced results following several days of vote counting. Well, we have Sekuture Otondi, a doctorate candidate at the University of Nairobi, joining us via Skype from Kenya. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, well, in accepting the results of this election, Uhuru Kenyatta handed the olive branch to Raila Odinga, but Odinga still went ahead to call for his supporters to go on strike. Well, he declared it a day of mourning for the fallen heroes. What do you have to say? What can you really tell us about the kind of progress that Kenya can make from this particular episode?
Thank you so much. I think we saw yesterday President Uhuru Kenyatta sending an olive branch, but I think it was not as we expected him to do, because I think it was more of a half-hearted call for the opposition to dialogue. So I think Mr. Odinga so far hasn't called for mass protests other than telling people yesterday not to go to work, which I think failed. But I think what we need to look for today is Mr. Odinga's statement, which I think will be a major statement, which is set to be announced today, I think around afternoon today.
All right, Seko, let me ask you this. Tell us, you are on ground there. What are the provisions? If someone who contests an election and lost at the polls, what are the provisions of the law in Kenya for the address or to cause redress of such kind of irregularities that are brought up as allegations?
I think the only option, is the court system that is going to the Supreme Court. So if Mr. Odinga feels that he has gathered enough evidence to petition the presidential elections, then I think the best thing he needs to do is to go straight to the Supreme Court. And I think that's what is we Kenyans are waiting to see what evidence he has, because he said he's addressing a major press conference today.
That's the point. Raila Odinga has said in response to the EU and AU asking him to accept the results and go to court if he has any issues. He's saying going to court is no option.
Yeah, I think... Hello?
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Yeah, I think Mr. Odinga is saying he's not going to court based on past experience that is felt with the court. Like in 2013, he went to the court, and I think his petition was kicked out, I think, on the basis of technical knockout. So I think that's what is making him not be able to go to the court. And I think he has a feeling that there's a kind, I think I can say, state within a state kind of thinking that he has, that there's a deep state that is trying to will be able to influence the judiciary as well. So I think that is his reservations why he doesn't want to actually go to court up to this particular point.
All right, but if he doesn't have faith in the institutions, how can people have faith in him to run or to rule even if he takes power?
I think it's quite... I think it's a tough question on that, but I think the best thing that he needs to do, that's why I say that the best thing he needs to do is gather enough evidence, place it in the court of public opinion as well, and then also go to the Supreme Court. So I think the best thing he can do so far is go to the Supreme Court. But even if he doesn't go to the Supreme Court, I think there are civil society organizations which might still feel that the election was not free and fair, or wasn't fair to the opposition NASA coalition. Then I think they also have a mandate to try and seek judicial interventions.
All right, Seko Otondi, would like you to just stay with us. Let's bring in Fola Dele to give us an idea of what the people are saying about this Kenya crisis. Fola, it's been a while.
Yeah,
Good morning, Fola.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Sekou. All right, let me quickly take you through some reactions. People are talking, definitely. Bijabi Spencer says, election is finished a long time ago. I don't get the nonsense. NASA people on streets. We have a president whom we chose. Only thugs are on the streets. Kenya Decides says, food for thought. If our elections produce nothing but violence and dirty politicians, maybe it's time as a nation we rethink the whole thing. Africa Connect says, congratulations to President-elect at U Kenyatta on your victory to lead Kenya. Meanwhile, let's pray for peace in Kenya. Stay away from violence. Avraj Batru says, I believe it is truly sad when foreign media uses election violence images from 2007 to depict Kenya. Because of time, I'll just stop here. So, Sekou, you have someone, and actually quite a number of tweets I saw, people talking about how people are taking images from years back and bringing them now and saying that and painting a picture of what things are like in Kenya, whereas, you know, it's just fake news and people shouldn't believe it. So how do you respond to that? I mean, someone is saying this isn't really the picture, people are lying, people are taking the wrong pictures. What are we supposed to believe at this point?
Okay, I think, thank you for raising up the tweets. I think so far Kenya is undergoing a volatile situation. I think the absence of, say, the absence of peace doesn't necessarily mean that the country is peaceful, because what we are seeing on the social media networks is like certain people aligned to particular parties. So if you listen to the opposition supporters online, then you get a different narrative. If you listen to the Jubilee or the government supporters on online as well. But I think one thing I must mention is that Kenya is a deeply divided nation along ethnic lines. There's the fake news which has come up, and also there's the propaganda by politicians. So I think these three mixed together is like a noxious mix which can, ignite the country. But I can't actually say that it's totally fake news, because some of the images were taken by international media houses like the Reuters and Associated Press. And I think there have been ordinary supporters of Odinga in his strongholds, such as in Kisumu and Kibra, I think have also come out and said that there's violence being meted out by the government. So I think that's something that needs to be that needs to be listened to. The opposition supporters. But I also think that issue of fake news and posting images of 2007 election is also something that needs to be undertaken. But I think if you look at some of the images now, it's like a mixture of things. There's old images and there's new images online as well. So I think it's on the government and the opposition and the civil society organizations to be able to look at what's the difference between all these images and try to come with an informed decision before they say it's fake news or not.
All right. Of course, Uhuru Kenyatta says elections come and go, but Kenya is here to stay. Hope the people will listen to that.
Yeah.
Foley.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, I guess we have to leave you here now. Secretary Otondi, University of Nairobi doctorate candidate. Thank you for talking to us on TVC Breakfast.
So much for having me on TVC. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we look forward to peace and calm in Kenya.
And everywhere else
in Africa. We don't have a repeat of 2007 violence in the country again.
That led to the death of over 1,000 people. That really was sad.
Yeah.
And that's how we have to wrap it this Tuesday morning on TVC Breakfast. We look forward to having you join us again tomorrow. Bright and early. I am Ngozi Alebu.
And I am Mike. Okwacha will leave you with weather outlook for major cities around Nigeria. Bye for now and have a great day.